Good morning, friends. Today I'm going to be making a bag called Bookends, and I have already started. I've hooped my paper towels, which I use as stabilizer, and I ran the first color stop, which put the exterior lines for the bag and also for the zipper. And I'm going to take my zipper in a moment and place it, center it right between these, what I call the runway, right between these two lines here. And I'm going to do that now, and I'll come back in just a moment. Okay, you can see that I have taped down the top, or the bottom, the bottom, and I always stick a little piece of tape about midway. And I'm going to take this to the machine and run the next step, step 2, which is the tack down of the zipper. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I have, as you can, I hope, see, not very well, there we are. You can see, actually, I think this is the straightest zipper I have ever put down in my entire life. This is setting a new record for me. So that's tacked down, and one other thing I wanted to do, I want to cut off these ears. They annoy me getting stuck under between the needle and the presser foot. So anyhow, my next step is I'm going to turn the hoop over, and I'm going to put my first piece of lining on, and I'm going to turn, this is the front side, I'm going to turn this over and place it right about a 1/4 inch under this bottom line, about a 1/4 inch under this line here, and make sure it covers on both sides, and I'll tack that down. Okay, and then I'm just going to let I'm going to lift my hoop like this and let that piece of lining fall over to the front, and I'm going to take and fold this several times, and if I can look under the camera here, see what I'm doing, attach that, I think that'll be good, attach that right there so it's out of the way, because we'll be turning it down on the back at some point, but not real soon. And then the next thing I do is I'll take the front fabric, which this doesn't matter which way it's turned, because it doesn't have a particular, it's all just random feathers. I'm going to take it and place it face down. Place it face down. Right below the zipper, and tape it down. Alright, let me take this over to the sewing machine, and it will run a line of stitches right through here and tack down both the fabric on the front and the back, and I'll be back momentarily. Okay, that was step 3 that I ran, tacking down these two pieces of fabric, one on the front, one on the back. And now I'm going to take a piece of I've got a lot of this recycled quilt top. Actually, it's more than a quilt top. It actually had the batting and the backing on it. But anyhow, I place it here, and I believe everything else I cut for this was more or less 7 by 11 inches. 7 by 11 inches for a 6 by 10 design is probably the smallest you should cut. I cut these maybe a little bit bigger, but this particular piece I wanted to fit right in here without hanging over, and I cut it about 6 by 10, or I'm sorry, what would that? Yes, 6 by 10. And so I'm going to take the top fabric and just simply pull it over, smooth it out as much as possible. And I'm going to take this to the first to the ironing board, because I'm going to give it a good pressing away from the zipper, and then I'm going to do the next step at the sewing machine, which is going to sew a line, or sew actually right underneath the zipper, down like this, across here and up here, and this will just hold things in place. So I don't think I've ever seen anyone else do a particular step like this, and if you find it unnecessary and don't want to bother with it, that's certainly your prerogative, but I think it really helps hold things in place, because we've got some satin stitching to do and some light quilting. So anyhow, that's just my opinion. It doesn't make it law, so do whatever you want to do. I'll be back momentarily. Okay, I'm back from the sewing machine, and you probably can't see because the thread's black, but it has tacked down this top piece and also the batting underneath it. And of course I've done the same thing I do every time. I've got this long, since I cut the pieces so long, I need to cut this off here because I don't want it interfering with my connecting on the machine. Oh, Lord, these scissors couldn't cut butter. Well, they can't. Can you believe it? My goodness. Okay. All right, the next step is, and it's going to be kind of hard to see because it's black thread on black fabric, basically, or mostly. The next step I'll run will do the outline for the applique. So hold on, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and like I say, unfortunately it's almost impossible to see. Let me see if I can get this. I'm trying a new camera, and it's pretty pathetic, I'm afraid. You can see the line right through here. It's just, you can see one of the lines over here. But in any case, what I'm going to do is take, well, here I go, traveling. I'm going to take just the entire, since it's really just kind of a border, the applique is just a border, I'm going to take just the fabric and place it, place it on top and cover. And this is another situation where we've got a light fabric over the dark fabric, and I think I'm going to, I believe I've got more of that over there. I think I'm going to cut a second sheet and put down, because this really is, you can see through. So hold on one second while I do that. Okay, I have cut a second sheet, a second piece of this orange fabric, because I don't want this showing through. So we've got 1 and 2, And I'm going to now take it back to the machine, and it's going to do a tack down, and then right after that I'll be taking it to the kitchen counter and sitting and trimming it. But I'll be back after I do this tack down, so just hold on one moment. Okay, I'm back, and you can see now the outline of the applique, and I'm just going to start up at the top with my scissors, and I'm going to cut down through here and cut right along these lines all the way like this, and cut off the side there, but get rid of all of this at the top. Can be gotten rid of, but I'll show you when I get back, so just hold on. Alright, I'm back, and you can see I have trimmed as good as I could. I have trimmed this and left this open in the center, trimmed it off to the sides, and now I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and it's going to do satin stitching all along through here, so we have no raw edges. And it's going to be black thread, and what I have learned with black thread, and I'm sure probably all of you know this, but I'll say it anyhow, do put a black a thread with black a bobbin with black thread down in your bobbin, because otherwise on every machine I have I will find the white pulling through to the top occasionally. So some people I know use a magic marker or something to get rid of the, to kind of dye the thread on the top, but I've personally never done that. But anyhow, let me get over to the machine and do that, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Well, I'm finally back. That took much longer than expected, because I don't get along with black satin stitching for some reason. I had to run I think it was step 7 maybe. I had to run that twice, or at least I ran the second time I ran just the satin stitching, not the under stitching. And I not only used my good applique scissors, I had to get these little scissors here, which are have really a fine point, and cut away the orange fabric. So just know you may have to, it depends on your machine too. My machines don't like, I don't know, they just always mess up with black satin stitching, it seems. And of course I had black bobbin thread. But anyhow, be that as it may, my next thing it will do is I'll put it back in the machine, and it's going to do some pretty little quilting through here, and then I'll be back momentarily. That shouldn't take long. Oops. Alrighty, I'm back, and you can see it's done some pretty quilting on the sides. And the next step we're going to do is take this piece of tape off and let this back lining just roll back down where it belongs, and pull it somewhat tautly, not enough to pull it out of the hoop, but anyhow, I'm going to tape it down on the bottom corners. Okay, and I'm going to take and cut off this. Shall I try? No, here's another one. Maybe this will, oh yeah, this will work better. I'm going to throw that other one in the trash. It's just worthless. Okay. Alright. Now I'm going to take this back to the sewing machine, or the embroidery machine, and get rid of this tape too up here. Alright, I usually don't remember to do that, and it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. But anyhow, I've got it taped down here at the bottom. I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and it's going to tack this back piece of lining down. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and that has been accomplished. So the back piece has been tacked down. Now I'm going to take and remove this piece of tape here. And here we go again with opening, one-handed opening. Come on, work this time. Oh, it's going to work. Okay, open this about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way. And then I've got my little attachment things that I've made, and I use, this is grosgrain ribbon. I use a strip of it that's 3 inches long, and whatever the width is, I think it's about 3/4 of an inch, but anyhow, just 3 inches long. I double it over and I staple it at the top to secure the ends, and so I'm going to place these about an inch in from each side, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I'm back, and I have placed those, taped them at the top here, taped them at the bottom here to hold this piece of metal out of the way, and this is way out of the stitch line. The last 2 rounds of stitches will stitch about halfway between this tack down stitch here that you see and the edge of the zipper. So let me place my back fabric, which is the same as the front fabric, this pretty feathers, and just make sure you cover all sides, and that it goes past the zipper on the top, up above the zipper. And then I'm going to place my piece of what I'm using as batting, and take it to the sewing machine and let it tack it down. It's going to sew all the way around the entire exterior this time. Alright, I'm back from the machine, and you can see that we have now a stitch going around the entire exterior, and that has just put everything together, stitched everything together, and now I'm going to turn it over for the last step, and I'm going to take my last piece of lining fabric and put that over. Wow, it's way too big. Let me pull it up this way. Alright, anyhow, I'm going to take it now, and on all 4 corners I'm going to tape it down. Alrighty, and I'm going to take it back to the machine for the last round, which will leave me, it'll go all around the exterior and leave an opening here in the bottom to turn the bag through. So I'll be right back. Okay, I have finished, the bag is finished as far as the sewing. I'm going to take it out of the hoop, and let's see. Alright, I'm going to take and cut, starting on this side. I'm going to I start usually right here and cut all the way around, cut all the way around the exterior, about a 1/4 inch away from the stitch line, and then I leave this about an inch longer, and I'll show you when I'm done what I have done. So hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, Houston, we've got a problem. I wasn't paying attention and I cut through here and got down here and cut slightly into the exterior seam line. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine and just put another seam right here as close as I can get to this part of the outer seam that's still here, but maybe a 32nd or a 16th of an inch inside here. So as my friends G and Sherry at Martelli on their videos at Womb Make Creation say, this is live sewing or real life sewing. So things happen, but we fix them. So hold on. Okay, as you can see, I actually ran, this is, we use blue thread, I ran another stitch line all the way across here, and then I did a small zigzag stitch to just kind of add a little reinforcement. So things happen and you move on. So anyhow, back to this. These are my two lining pieces here, and I'm going to, wait a minute, well, there's another error. I forgot and sewed through. I'm just full of errors today. I sewed my opening closed. No, I didn't. Well, how did I avoid that? Well, all right. Anyhow, I'm going to take now and turn the purse out through this opening, so hold on. I'm losing my mind. Of course, I didn't sew it closed. I was sewing by the zipper. Oh boy, my medication's not working, I don't think. Anyhow, be right back. So I have now trimmed off all the bulk. I meant to show you that, but I've shown that in other videos. I've trimmed off this extra bulk that was back here. That's all the stuff here that's no longer needed. So that can just be thrown away. And now I'm going to turn the purse through here. So hold on. Now I have turned the bag inside or inside out, I guess. And I'm going to take and get rid of this paper towel along through here. And then I'm going to take and fold these pieces inside like this. Fold them inside. And then take and do a row of stitches right here to close the bottom of the bag up. So I'll be back in a moment. Well, I created another mistake. I'm sure you can see it right now, another issue. When I cut that, it cut off my attachment piece on this side, on the right side. So I'm going to have to do some surgery, and I'm going to take, you can see where the other one is at. I'm going to take and I'm going to, there's that blue thread showing through. I'm going to take my seam ripper and I'm going to rip a little space open there, and I'm going to sew it back down. So hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I have taken the seam ripper and I have opened up a little hole here, and I'm going to take and stick this right down in it this way, right down in there like that, and try to match it up as evenly as I can with the other as far as the length. And so then I'm going to take black thread in my sewing machine and I'm going to sew a little a little line of stitches here to tack it down, and no one will probably be the wiser. So I'll be right back. Alrighty, after doing a little surgery, it's back on, and you can see a little bit of stitching there on the back side. You can see a little bit of stitching right there, but all in all, who's paying that close attention? If their face is on your purse, that inspecting it that closely, there's something wrong. So this is the Bookends purse, and I'm quite pleased with the way it turned out. I'll add my pretty little tassel here, and it'll be finished. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make this, watching me make mistakes, and doing real life sewing, where everything is not always perfect, but we make our mistakes right. We correct them as best we can. So anyhow, I will be back probably tomorrow with another edition of my daily sewing show or embroidery show with another pattern. So I'll see you then. Thank you for watching.